Xinjiang, a vast land of deserts, mountains, and ancient trade routes, once the heart of the Silk Road. Today, the center of one of the most pressing human rights crises of our time. This is the story of the Uyghur Muslims. The Uyghurs are a Turkic-speaking, predominantly Muslim people with roots in Central Asia. They've called Xinjiang, known to them as East Turkestan, their home for centuries. With their own language, traditions, and faith, they represent a unique identity in China. Xinjiang spans 1/6 of China's territory, packing enormous natural resources, oil, gas, coal, and a central role in the Belt and Road Initiative. Key pipelines and rail routes run through it, connecting China closer to Europe and Central Asia. But with strategic importance comes intense control. Since 2009's Urumqi riots, the region has seen draconian security measures, hundreds of thousands of cameras, biometric checkpoints, face scans, and QR entry passes. Starting around 2017, evidence emerged of vast re-education centers. China calls them vocational training facilities, but leaks, satellite images, and testimony paint a grim reality. According to the Simon Skjodt Center, more than 500,000 Uyghurs remain in prison or detention, while an additional 3 million were placed in forced labor in 2023. Meanwhile, the Uyghur Human Rights Project estimates that 1 in 26 Uyghurs in Xinjiang are imprisoned, a world-leading detention rate. One of the anonymous detainees narrated that they made us denounce our religion, learn Mandarin language. If we cried, we were beaten. Former detainees recount ideological indoctrination, forced Mandarin learning, recitation of state slogans, and abuse if they resisted. It's not just cities and camps, it's an assault on culture. Over 570,000 Uyghurs are still forced to pick cotton by hand in the Xinjiang. Mandarin language has replaced Uyghur in schools. Thousands of mosques have been demolished. Children are separated, placed in state-run boarding schools. Domestically, former detainees and rural Uyghurs are placed into factories. State programs relocated nearly 3 million people in 2022-23. Indeed, Uyghur labor has permeated global supply chains, from cotton and textiles to solar panels, electronics, and car parts. Forced labor is the backbone of some critical industries in China. Consequently, worldwide, pressure is mounting on China. For example, in January 2025, the United States banned imports from 37 more Chinese firms involved in Xinjiang's forced labor. Yet not everyone is responding firmly. Australia is one example. Despite international concern over forced labor in Xinjiang, Australian companies are still importing goods from at least 8 Chinese firms that have been blacklisted by the United States for their links to Uyghur forced labor. Meanwhile, environmental, social, and governance investment funds hold over $1.4 billion in Xinjiang-connected firms, especially in electronic vehicle battery maker CATL, despite forced labor concerns. Equally, despite their ethical goals, many environmental, social, and governance investment funds are still investing heavily, over $1.4 billion USD, in companies linked to Xinjiang, where forced Uyghur labor has been widely documented. One of the biggest recipients of this investment is contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Ltd., the world's largest electric vehicle battery maker. Many human rights watchdog reports in June 2025 identified 68 Western-linked companies in Xinjiang's critical minerals sector, spanning titanium, lithium, magnesium, exposing more exploitative chains. Therefore, the crisis aren't contained. In February 2025, Thailand forcibly deported 40 Uyghur Muslim men to China. These men had fled China years ago, escaping persecution in Xinjiang. They were detained in Thailand immigration centers since 2014, held in limbo for over a decade. Still, Thailand handed them back to Chinese authorities on February 29, 2025, ignoring United States, United Nations, and Amnesty International objections. China dismisses all these allegations, calling them lies and disinformation, and claims there are no camps, only vocational training for extremism in Xinjiang. State media hypes record employment, over 477,000 new urban jobs in the first 11 months of 2024. But these figures don't address coercion. They miss the human cost behind inflated employment metrics. As global supply chains low, Forced labor persists in Xinjiang. Trade from Xinjiang jumped 40% in early 2023, smashing through Western sanctions. Tourism is booming too, 300 million visitors in 2024, even while rights groups accuse hotels of whitewashing abuses. International action, import bans, ESG divestment, legal sanctions marks a step. Yet Uyghurs continue to suffer. Thousands remain detained. Millions face forced labor. Their culture is fading. While some nations look away for trade or politics, the question remains, are we complicit in their silence? Behind the Silk Wall lies tested lives. Xinjiang isn't just a region. It's a lens on power, identity, and human rights. We can't look away. Over 500,000 Uyghurs are detained in Xinjiang, with millions subjected to forced labor. Global pressure grows. Will it be enough?